Cartoons, the animated frontier. These are the voyages of the Cellcast podcast. Its continuing mission to explore strange new cartoons, to seek out new animation styles and new creative storytelling methods, to boldly go where so few ever go again. Welcome to another episode of the Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who's on princess duty, Jacob.
Well, it was the only gig I can get. Why, thank you. I'd like to introduce our co-host, a man who just could not touch those stinking black rocks. Welcome, Drew.
But they're so shiny.
Hands off. That's what got us in this trouble in the first place.
What trouble? Are you saying the podcast is trouble and somehow I started it?
I don't know.
Because it was your idea.
I know that. I know it was my idea. But you jumped in there. But
True. So yeah, folks, in case you have forgotten, we are starting our third year of the Cellcast tonight.
Woohoo! Third night. Third year.
Excellent.
Third year. Amazing.
Did I say third night?
No, I said third night.
Okay.
So our third
I was going
year.
crazy.
Our third year.
3 years ago, when did I post that? Friday?
Yeah, Friday.
Friday. We gathered in Jacob's apartment to talk about Frozen.
Yes.
And 2 weeks later, I finally got it edited.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
And that's why our anniversary takes so long to go through.
Yes. So thank you guys so much for being a part of this community, who listened, who have tagged along into this journey we've been doing. Thank you, and I hope we have entertained you over the last 3 years and
2 years.
2 years,
Starting our third.
Okay.
Technically, this is our second anniversary.
Yeah.
I think. Wait, I kept saying 3 years because it's the start of our third. It's actually, we just finished 2 years.
Yeah.
Because we started in 2019.
That is true. So it was our
second anniversary.
That's true.
Sorry for the confusion.
No. So it's our second anniversary, our third year of doing it.
Starting our third year, yes.
Starting our third year. So yeah, for all of those who have followed us in the beginning and tagged along in the course of the 2 years going to our third year, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, from Drew's and everybody, part of the Cell Nation Cellcast. And I hope you've been entertained, you've enjoyed, you've had a laugh, and maybe you learned something. Maybe you learned one or two things about a film you didn't know before.
Perhaps.
And maybe even you heard about a film that you maybe had not have heard of, because we've reviewed films that I've never seen before, and I was pleasantly surprised or oddly mystified by in some fashion or form. But either way,
ditto.
Thank you so much for being a part of this ride.
But we'll talk more anniversary stuff next week.
Yeah.
This week, though, we got to let's jump into what we have been watching. So, Jacob,
yes.
What have you been watching?
Oh.
He who have had much more time on your hands this week than I.
Okay, so let me explain that real fast. So at the beginning of this month, I asked my store director if I could possibly get the end of the month off. And another director said maybe in March. So I was like, okay, it's not going to happen. So about the middle of last week, one of my fellow employees started saying, be like, hey, you're off, right? You're off next week. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. So Friday, I checked the schedule. It's still blank. So it could possibly, you're going to have to work next week. And I just kept expecting that. So Saturday comes along and I keep thinking I'm not going to plan anything until I get things in writing. And I get
very wise.
Yeah. Until I get to where I work and check the schedule. Surely I am off. So praise the Lord, I am off. So I have watched all of Beast Wars Transformers.
Nice.
Came out in the late 90s. And it's a really good show. The animation for Beast Wars Transformers, the first season is not the best. It's kind of flat. It's kind of dull. But the storytelling is very well done. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I've watched the series probably quite a few times. I finished Neon Genesis Evangelion at the end of last week. We both just finished watching Thundercats 2011.
Yeah.
Really good series. Go watch it. It's available on Hulu right now if you are a subscriber to Hulu.
And if you have been keeping up with the podcast, you'll
Exactly.
know that by the time this episode releases on all the audio formats, we will have just finished season 1.
Yes.
The only season on the ends on a cliffhanger of Thundercats 2011.
Yes. So I watched. What else did I watch? I recently picked up the original Thundercats from 1985, and I watched like the first few episodes. I feel like it's really well done for a cartoon of the 80s and of its time period, and it's really groundbreaking series. Sadly enough, not a lot of people know about the series, even though it is just a monumental powerhouse in animated TV series, animated shows in the 1980s. So I got that, and I just recently, actually before I came over here, I just finished watching The Matrix. Which
I watched that yesterday.
Yeah.
I'll have some interesting things to say about that on Movie of the Week podcast when we review that.
Same here. Yeah, I think most people have seen The Matrix. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's a really good film. The sequels,
well, you say it's a great film.
well,
like I said, I have some interesting thoughts.
Well, yes, I mean, like I do too. I do have some opinions, and I'll probably be able to write them down if I can articulate them well.
I just have one word for you: isekai.
Yes.
Because it kind of is.
In a way, yes.
Before that became a thing.
Yeah, that is true. That is so good point.
More on that on the Movie of the Week podcast review of The Matrix.
Yes.
Whenever that releases.
Yeah. So, yeah, that is all I have been watching. So, what have you been watching, Drew?
Well, as I've already said, I've watched The Matrix yesterday. I watched episode 3 of WandaVision.
How did that go?
It finally adds some context. Part of the problem with 1 and 2 is it's kind of revealing stuff at a bit of a snail's pace.
Okay.
Which is good to kind of set up a mystery, but you kind of expect some resolution by the end of that second episode, and it doesn't come. The third, you're finally going, okay, we're getting somewhere now. So, yeah, I'm enjoying WandaVision so far. I'm looking forward to episode 4 this Friday. Also, I have watched... What else did I watch? I'm still watching Phineas and Ferb. I've started season 3.
Yeah.
There's an episode early on in season 3. I can't remember the name of it, but they actually do a pretty decent meta joke.
Okay.
So if you've ever watched the show, you know during the theme song, there's a number of things they say they're going to do before the summer ends, right?
Right.
We actually got to see how they did that.
Oh, wow.
They did at least one of the last 2 in that one. They found the dodo bird.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And they actually pointed out, it's like, yeah, there's a list. Mark that one off. Still got to find Frankenstein's brain.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck with that. Of course, according to Buford, he left it in the other basket. Anyway, so I've watched that. I've also been playing, as you know, I'm a gamer. I've been playing a little bit of Persona 5 Royal. Still working my way through that. I did get out of the spaceport dungeon. Working my way through the next couple days on that. I'm not sure if I'm going to for those who know Persona 5, I'm not sure I'm going to get all the confidants before time is up, but the ones that trigger Royal's ending, I am going to get. I'm only missing one of those points, and that one apparently comes up during the story. So I think I'm good there.
Okay.
Also, yesterday after the Matrix, I fell.
You fell?
I fell back into an old addiction.
Okay.
Final Fantasy 14.
Okay.
And here's the thing on that. While I did fall back into it, I have not done any of the story stuff yet since I got it back going. But what I'm going to do, starting, I believe, this Saturday, so the day this releases, you need to go check out the Cellcast Gaming, because around 6 or 7, I think, I'm going to start going through the New Game Plus on Final Fantasy 14 with my character. And that's going to be some fun, because I'm going to kill everything very quickly.
Okay, then.
Because I get to keep my level and item level, which means all those level 10 monsters are just going to go boosh in one hit.
Okay.
That will be fun. I'm planning on playing through. What the New Game Plus allows you to replay all the story stuff up to the current part of the game.
Okay.
And honestly, some of that stuff I have not played or seen in 4 years.
Okay.
So I don't remember all the subtleties. And there's been some minor changes. So if you want to come see me kick a lot of monster butt while I try to find out why the Garleans are trying to kill us all, go check out my gameplay of Final Fantasy 14, A Realm Reborn New Game Plus, starting this Saturday.
Okay. So before we leave this section, I did fail to mention I did watch one other movie.
Oh?
Your Name.
Love that movie.
Yes. Amazing film.
Go check out our review of it.
Yes. Yeah, we did a reaction of it, right?
We did a full review.
Yeah, that's right. We did
of Your Name.
Yeah, we did a full review.
We only did a reaction of Weathering With You, which
yes, another good film.
that will probably be rectified within this year.
Yeah, exactly.
Get that one fully reviewed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I watched that. I'd be like, I don't know where you can stream it. I don't know if you can stream it anywhere right now. I don't know where G Kids would be streaming right now, but it's easily available on Amazon Prime. If you're a member or subscriber to that, you can find it fairly cheap right now. So go jump on it. And Drew's doing some quick.
I'm quickly looking to see where Your Name is being streamed. You can rent it on Amazon. It looks like.
Oh, excellent.
So there's at least that. Yeah, you could rent it in HD for $4.
Okay, that's not bad. That is really, really good.
Yeah. But that is a very good movie. So yeah. News.
Okay. So today, July 26th. July, apparently. Apparently it's July already. Sorry, people.
We're so ready to be done with COVID-19 that we're just flying through the year.
Exactly. Just fly me to the moon, Lord. Let me get out of here.
Fly me to the moon and let me bathe among the stars. Your kind of does feel like Evangelion, to be honest. There's not that much orange juice at the end.
Oh, gosh, no. No. COVID, do not do that. Do not do that to us. Please, for the Lord of Jesus Christ, no. All right, so for today, January 26th of 2021, the Walt Disney Animated Studio launched their new trailer for the fantasy adventure Raya and the Last Dragon, revealing more detail about the film. And you can go check out the new poster, which is available basically everywhere right now. If you want to go purchase it, go do that. And if you're a fan of us, go and link it down to one of these our social media sites and link that. If you bought it, great. Let us know.
We will probably be doing a reaction to it when it comes out.
Hopefully in theaters.
Hopefully. No. They have said both theaters and Disney Plus Premium.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm seeing it in a theater.
Yes.
Because I can.
Yeah, exactly.
At least while they still let us.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm referring to. Hopefully and perfectly we can still go to theaters when this movie does come out. All right.
Because I don't want to spend $30 on this.
No, absolutely not. All right. So speaking of, it will be available on Disney Plus for Premier Access for $29.99, and it'll be in theaters on March 5th of 2021.
Looking forward to it.
Yes. So we're getting a little meta information regarding movie sales with COVID-19 and Disney primarily going to Disney Plus for their releases for the moment. Let's see. Disney Soul released has set new records for the NASLA weekly U.S. streaming ratings. It finished first of the week of December 21st and 27th with 1.6 million streamed, beating The Office at 1.4 billion in its final weeks on Netflix, now available on Peacock, or the network Peacock.
Yes.
Right.
It's the streaming service.
Yes, which is a streaming service.
The Peacock streaming services. At least it's free.
Yeah, exactly. So speaking of streaming services,
we got another one that's going to cost us money.
Yes. For those who be like, I'm not buying cable, you can forget it. That's the price we pay.
We are getting cable now. It's just we're not paying one person. We're paying 30 people.
Not that many, but close enough.
Feels like it.
It does feel like you're paying a lot of people. Viacom CBS will be rolling out its brand new CBS All Access streaming as Paramount Plus March 4th. Their service will be a hub of content for entertainment brands such as Nickelodeon, Comedy Central, MTV, BET, CBS, and Paramount Pictures. Will be on-demand films, the series, as well as live-action news and television. This was announced via Twitter on Tuesday. So
they've released 2 pretty funny commercials.
Yes. I guys saw them just a few minutes before we started. They are absolutely hysterical.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, go check those out. They're funny. So that is all we have in the news.
All right. So shall we get tangled up in our spoiler-free section of our review of Tangled Before Ever After?
Mm-hmm.
So this is my second time watching this.
Okay.
Because 1 year ago, I watched it in preparation for our beginning of our recordings of the animated series, Tangled The Series. Because we decided we were going to try and record as much of that review ahead of time, so that we would not have to be as rushed when it came time to release. We got through season 1, and then apparently I got busy.
Yeah,
because I had 3 weeks in a row where it's like I couldn't record on that 3 weekends in a row, and then we got out of the habit. We tried to start back up season 2 a couple weeks later, and then I came to the realization Star Trek Lower Decks might be a better start. Yeah. Since it's fresh and new, and we might get some people that way. Exactly. I have no idea if that actually worked. But we tried.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. Starting the Monday after you hear this, we will every Monday and Wednesday and Friday, we will be releasing our reviews for Tangled the series. And we will hopefully, by the time we get done with releasing season 1, we will have season 2 recorded.
Yes.
So, join us for that. So, when I started this, I'm going to admit something to you that I think you'll understand.
Okay.
My thought.
Okay.
I was not looking forward to the original viewing of this.
Ah, okay.
I was looking forward to this viewing, but the original viewing, when you said we're going to review Tangled the series, I'm thinking, Tangled was a good movie. I don't know if I want to get invested in a Disney princess television show.
Okay.
It did not occur to me that we weren't talking, as probably good as it was, the Little Mermaid TV show.
Right.
We were talking something a touch more epic.
Yeah, just a bit. Just saying.
Just a bit, yeah. there is I wouldn't call this, and this is definitely high fantasy.
Yeah.
Or fairy tale fantasy, I should say. It's not really high fantasy. But this show takes its lore seriously.
Yes.
Very seriously. And this movie is definitely the starting off point. Now, I should say, before people get confused, and this is not a spoiler because it's said in like the first 30 seconds of the movie, there is a special that came out before this that takes place after this.
Or technically after the series.
After the series, called Tangled, was it Happily Ever After?
Ever After.
Or just Ever After? Something to that effect. I haven't watched it. And in that one, she has brown hair. Like she would as at the end of Tangled. But if you've seen any promotional image for this show, you'll notice she's got the full blonde hair.
It's a lot of hair.
And it takes place after Tangled the movie.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah. So if you're confused why it's called Before Ever After, it's because it's before the movie Ever After.
For the short.
For the short. 30-minute short.
It's shorter than that.
I don't remember how many. I hadn't
It's
seen
a good short, believe me.
I am looking forward to getting to it in 4 months.
Roughly.
But I mean, yeah, this was this was far better than I expected it to be.
Okay.
I will say, having seen all of season 1, when I went back and watched this, I was looking for characters that I thought ought to be in this and aren't.
Right.
And that was a little disappointing, especially at the sweet shop. I was expecting a character to show up there, but he didn't.
No.
I'm assuming he was just inside baking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah.
It's definitely, though, it's a little bit of a rocky start, but not a whole lot of a rocky start. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So yeah, I would suggest watching this, if for no other reason, then you should also watch Tangled the Series.
Yes.
Later known as Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure for the second 2/3 of the show. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Your thoughts?
My thoughts, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I be like, I will not make it any kind of secret at all. I love Tangled. I love that film. I watched it in theaters, and I instantly got hooked with it. And I've watched it multiple times. I've watched this film probably 3 times already. And, you know, the series is amazing. It's got a lot of character build up. It's a vast departure from the movie animation. Obviously, it's a lot more cheaper designed. It's not to get into too early into the trivia, but it is based on the artwork she does in the movie. That is true. That is so true. Art style. Yes, which is a very interesting art style. Let's say that. I enjoyed this movie tremendously. If only they released it in Blu-ray. Just release a series. Give it time. Come on, Shop Factory. I mean, they're a little slow at Gravity Falls too. That is true. That is so true. Come on, Shop Factory. Give us the money. Come on. We will give you the money. Just do it, please. That's all we ask. So either way, I thoroughly enjoyed this film. Like Drew said, there's a little bit of rock. It's a little bit of a rocky start, but it's still great. It's still great to me. So I don't just mean that because of the big giant black rocks. Yeah, that is true. Either way, that is my non-spoiler discussion. Alrighty. So shall we go ahead and, after the bumper here, jump into the full spoiler-filled review of this movie? Agreed. All right, join us then.
Ray. Wrong? Okay. This progress is a part of Christian Reek Central Network. Wrong. Hey, Scoop, what are you doing, man? I don't know. I'm supposed to be reading an ad. All right, hold on. Give me it. Okay.
All right. This podcast is part of the Christian Geek Central Network at ChristianGeekCentral.com.
There you can find a collection of blogs and podcasts working together to bring you some of the best content on the web for Christian geeks, such as Retro Rewind podcast. Join Francisco Ruiz, Paul the Master Interrupter Powers, and a special guest every week as they discuss movies and video games from 15 or more years ago, rating them either classic, nostalgic, or tragic. The following is a spoiler-filled review for the movie Tangled Before Ever After. Listener discretion is advised. Tangled Before Ever After was directed by Tom Caulfield, who also would go on to direct something called Pups of Liberty, the Dogclaration of Independence.
Okay.
I couldn't pass that up.
Okay,
when I
that's
saw that.
interesting.
And he didn't have much else. That's just crazy.
Huh.
And also Steven Sandoval, who directed some episodes of Gravity Falls. Mm-hmm. The writer was Jason Rickey, who also wrote some episodes of Nickelodeon's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that first series they did.
Oh, yeah.
Shane Prigmore, who also wrote some episodes of Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, and Chris Sonnenberg, who didn't write anything else besides Tangled the series.
Hey, when you're dedicated, you're dedicated.
Exactly. And if you haven't been able to get another job yet. The music was done by Kevin Kleisch, who we have been listening to for the past couple months as we've gone through Thundercats 2011.
Go check out our review there.
Yes. Getting into the cast, we've got Mandy Moore playing Rapunzel.
Reprising her role.
Reprising her role. She played a character named Ann Best in Midway.
Good movie, by the way.
Zachary Levi plays Flynn Rider / Eugene Fitzherbert. He was Shazam in Shazam. Eden Espinoza played Cassandra.
Or Cass.
And she didn't have much on hers that jumped out, but she did play both Princess Leia Organa and Mon Mothma in Robot Chicken Star Wars 3.
Interesting.
Clancy Brown plays King Frederick. He's probably more well-known nowadays for playing Mr. Krabs in SpongeBob SquarePants, but our generation would probably know him as playing Lex Luthor in Superman the Animated Series.
That is true. He did a very good Lex.
Julie Bowen plays Queen Ariana. She played a character named Dr. Devin Albright in Scooby-Doo Mecha Mutt Menace.
Never heard of this before.
What's a Scooby-Doo thing? I assume you knew all those.
I don't know all of them.
But it was
Right. I can do some regular voice, but I don't know everything.
I just thought that was an interesting name. It's one of the reasons I went with that one.
I got you.
Laura Benanti. I'm probably saying that wrong, and I apologize. She played Lady Kane. And in the CW Supergirl show, she played Allura Zor-El.
So she played Supergirl's mom.
Yes.
Or sister.
Mom.
Mom.
I double-checked it. It's mom.
Okay. Because there's a little... It's Supergirl's mom, and then the Supergirl's aunt.
According to what I was able to Google,
Okay.
it's mom.
Okay.
But I could be 100% wrong, as I usually am. Jeffrey Tambor played Big Nose. And he played George Bluth Sr. in Arrested Development. MC Gainey played the captain of the guard. He played a character named Swamp Thing in Con Air.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that movie in years.
Sean Hayes plays Pete the guard. And he played the character of Larry in the newer, bad Three Stooges movie.
Oh, okay.
It was not a good movie.
Okay, I'll take your word at it.
And it would have been your kind of movie in the first place anyway. Diedrich Bader played Stan the guard. And he played Rex Kwon Do in Napoleon Dynamite.
Okay.
Jess Harnell played Pocket. And he played a character named Corin in... I didn't mark what Corin was from for some reason. But let's face it, we know him as playing Wacko Warner in Animaniacs. Kevin Michael Richardson played Otter. We, of course, know him from playing Panthro in Thundercats 2011. Alan Dale played the Vicar. He played Councilman Rockwell in Captain America the Winter Soldier.
Ah.
D. Bradley Baker played Pascal and Maximus. He's known for playing Perry the Platypus in Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah.
And every single clone trooper in Star Wars The Clone Wars.
Yes. Very talented man. Very, very talented.
Gideon Emery played Weasel. And he played this last year Biggs in Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh, okay.
Steve Blum played Attila Buckethead, and he previously played Spike Spiegel in Cowboy Bebop.
I think it's pronounced Steve Bloom.
Sorry, Steve Bloom. Bloom.
Yeah.
Should be an E if it's Bloom.
There again, amazing voice actors in this show, and Steve Bloom is just amazing.
Now, believe it or not, I made a foul up when I was writing my notes.
Oh no!
I forgot to put in the Kingdom Hearts connections. But I know these. I know some of these.
Okay.
So, let's go with the easy ones. Zachary Levi did play his character in Kingdom Hearts 3. He did play Flynn Rider. Mandy Moore, unfortunately, did not play Rapunzel in Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah.
But she played Aerith Gainsborough in Kingdom Hearts 1.
Yes.
And then didn't come back for the others, which is sad. So I know some of these, but I don't think anyone else actually showed up in the game.
Okay.
So I'm just going to leave it at that. So at least I got you two.
Okay.
Why don't you give us some info and stuff?
All right. So info and stuff. There's not a whole lot ever since this was a TV movie. So I will give you what I have. All right. So it's available currently right now only on Disney Plus. So if you're a subscriber there, go watch it, and you can watch basically anything Disney right now. And in the middle of a COVID pandemic, that's not a bad thing to do.
Got to do something.
Exactly. All right. It's
Watching a girl hit people with a frying pan is definitely worth it.
Yeah, quite a bit. Or someone else hitting somebody with a frying pan. Because there's a lot of frying pans in that show, in that movie, and everything else but Tangled.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
who knew?
So score-wise, Rotten Tomatoes, it doesn't have a score. Now, it has an audience score of 70%.
Okay.
On IMDb, it's a 6.6 out of 10. Just about above average.
Okay.
All right, so production-wise, and I will get this right the first time.
We shall see.
Disney Television Animation with Mercury Filmworks. Distribution by Disney ABC Domestic Television. It was originally aired on the Disney Channel Network. And we do not have any information of how much this cost. It probably was probably bundled in with how much it costs the series to make. So I'll probably get that at some point.
And it probably was the cost of 2 episodes of the series to make.
Probably,
if we're being honest.
Yeah. The film.
More money was probably spent on on this episode just for the main song that plays, the only song that plays in this, which is a longer version of the theme song for the show.
Yeah. So the film was viewed by almost 2.9 million viewers on its premiere night, comprising more women than men who were between the ages of 18 and 49.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Either way, that's all I have for info and stuff.
All right, getting into the summary. 6 months after the events of Tangled, Rapunzel is set to become the official princess of the Kingdom of Corona. Now, before I go any farther, I need to double check something with you, see if you remember.
Okay.
In the original movie Tangled, because I know you've seen it a bunch of times.
Right.
Do they ever say the name of the kingdom?
No. This is the only place.
So this is the only place where we've actually learned that the name of the kingdom is this Kingdom of Corona.
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to verify that. Because I got to thinking about that. It's like, that they never said what the name of that place was till now. All right. However, on the day before her coronation ceremony, Rapunzel and Eugene Fitzherbert, riding Maximus and Fidela, are out in the forest racing each other to the border wall with the royal guards in pursuit. Rapunzel is the first to make it to the wall and climbs to the top, where she sees on the other side a magnificent view of the land beyond the kingdom. After a while, the guards catch up and escort the two of them back to the castle. Upon returning to the castle, Cassandra is waiting for her. Cassandra has been given the task to care for Rapunzel and help her adjust to life as the princess. While Rapunzel is happy to be reunited with her parents, she struggles to adjust to her new life. She tries her best, but she feels overwhelmed with the amount of responsibility that comes with being a princess. And because of her father's fear of losing her again, he denies her desire to explore the world. On the eve of her coronation, Eugene builds up the courage to propose to her. Rapunzel is shocked and delighted, but despite her love for him, she does not feel ready to marry him and rejects his proposal. Returning to her room, Cassandra believes Rapunzel could use some downtime and offers to sneak her out and take her beyond Corona's security wall. Rapunzel and Cassandra sneak out of the castle and venture into the woods. Cassandra takes Rapunzel to the former location of the healing flower that saved her and her mother. In its place, mysterious thorn-like rocks have appeared, and they are unbreakable. As Rapunzel examines the area, she is struck by magic the moment she lays a finger on one of the rocks. Part of her hair begins to glow, and more of those mysterious rocks suddenly sprout from the ground. Rapunzel and Cassandra run away, chased by a trail of sprouting rocks. When they make it out of the woods, Rapunzel's long blonde hair has grown back, with Rapunzel and Cassandra not having a clue why. As the morning of the coronation day rises, Rapunzel and Cassandra sneak back into the castle and try to get rid of the hair, but they discover that it is unbreakable like the thorns. Eugene sneaks into the room and sees the hair, but they all know that Rapunzel's parents cannot know about it. In order to hide it, Rapunzel wears an oversized wig. While Rapunzel is having breakfast with her parents, several pirates, under the orders of the mysterious Lady Kane, are committing crimes throughout the kingdom to intentionally get caught and be taken to the dungeons of the castle. During Rapunzel's coronation ceremony, the royal family is confronted by Lady Kane, who has disguised herself as a visiting duchess and freed the prisoners from the dungeons. Lady Kane seeks vengeance on King Frederick for imprisoning her father after Rapunzel was kidnapped, despite his simply being a petty thief. While Frederick and the rest of the royal guests are locked in a cage, Rapunzel reveals her golden hair and uses it as a weapon to defeat the criminals with Eugene and Cassandra's help. Despite proving her worth, Frederick feels more insecure about Rapunzel's safety than ever before, and learning the truth about her sneaking out, he forbids her to get out of the castle again without his permission. Hurt by her father's decision, Rapunzel feels trapped once more, but Eugene arrives and comforts her, uplifting her spirits. He apologizes for putting her on the spot with the proposal, and Rapunzel apologizes for her reaction. Eugene promises Rapunzel that despite not understanding her decision, he will take their relationship slow. After he leaves, Rapunzel reads a message in the journal given to her by her mother and becomes inspired to live her life to the fullest despite the obstacles she will have to face. A while later, a mysterious individual comes across the site of the magical flower, with more of the rocks now covering the area. Getting into the trivia for this movie, Rapunzel's father, King Frederick, speaks for the very first time in this movie. And this movie and TV series reunites Zachary Levi and Laura Benanti after their successful 2016 Broadway revival of the musical She Loves Me.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Jacob, I feel that since this movie and the subsequent television series were your idea to review, that you should have the honor of being the first to give us a like.
All right. Why, thank you. My first like would be the lore. The lore in this this movie and its subsequent movie TV series. The movie itself, we are introduced to so many new things that we weren't privy to in the Tangled the movie. One, we're given the name Corona of the kingdom. We're good night. Just like there's so many little facets of like we learn more about. We learn that after Rapunzel was kidnapped by Mother Gothel, that the king cracked down on evildoers and locked up a ton of people. That's why Lady Kane is out for revenge. and just there's so many, just like the depth and lore they go into it is absolutely incredible. I love the depth and the mileage they get out of everything in this show, or in this case, the movie. Can't you tell I really want to talk about the series?
Yeah, that's one thing we're going to have a hard time doing with this is not talking about where this goes.
Yeah, exactly. Ever since we've already reviewed season 1.
Yes.
Yeah, just the depth of how everything's entangled together in this
pun not intended.
Yeah, pun not intended, but slightly intended. Of this TV movie. So that is my number 1. What is your number 1? In a way,
my number 1 is very similar to yours in that I like how this is the pilot for the upcoming series.
Yes.
This movie does a good job of connecting us to the first movie while hinting at some things that admittedly will take a whole season for them to get around to giving us an answer for.
That is true.
But
it's called good storytelling.
It's good storytelling, but it takes a long time for it to finally get past some things. It introduces us to a new character who will be very important for the series in Cassandra, or Cass, as really we're more used to calling her at this point. Not that they ever say that in this, I don't think.
What, Cassandra?
Well, they don't say Cass that much in this.
No, they say Cassandra.
They say Cassandra. I think 1 or 2 times Flynn, sorry, I keep thinking of him as Flynn. Eugene calls her Cass.
Yeah.
But that's more derogatory than a term of endearment.
Just a bit.
Knowing him. They don't get along.
No, as you'll see in the series, they don't.
Yeah. We get, of course, at least the hints about the Black Rocks. We get it even hints that the Black Rocks are connected to her magic. We do get, of course, another. We do get another horse character
yes.
for Maximus to fall in love with.
Yes.
We do still get all our old characters who are all voiced by the same actors.
Yes.
Who voiced them in the movie.
Yes.
Some of them are pretty big names too.
Yeah, a little bit.
And they continue to voice their characters throughout the show, which is amazing. For a cartoon show that is the sequel to a movie.
Yes.
Keep in mind, 2 movies ago, we reviewed Aladdin. Half those people weren't the people in the previous movie.
That is true.
There was entirely different actors playing those roles. And so the fact that we actually get the same cast, essentially, it's a continuation of the cast we had before. Maybe they learned from Aladdin and other movies from that time period. I don't know. But, you know, I just like how we get this connection to the old movie while still leading us into the lore of the series, even though many of the characters that will become important outside of Lady Cass, outside of Cassandra, have not been introduced yet.
Yes.
Because I was looking for a lot of characters that I know from the show, and I kept thinking, surely they'll show up in the background, in a crowd shot. One of them ought to be walking around the castle. Because she only shows up in season 1.
That is true.
But we don't see her either.
No, she doesn't.
Yeah. That's my number. I think I've hinted a little too much.
Yeah, you did.
But
it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my first. I like the connection between this being the connecting piece between the movie and the show.
All right.
What's your second line?
So you pointed to my number 2 and your number 1, which would be the introduction of Cass or Cassandra.
Yes.
Oh my! Yeah,
we don't want to spoil.
No, we don't.
Anything.
No, we don't. No, we don't. We don't spoil anything.
But I will say, and I don't know if this got recorded because it's been, 8 months?
8 months.
Since we recorded that?
Yes.
Did I say on the show that I kind of guessed who she was related to?
Possibly.
Okay. I don't remember if I did or not, but I still think I know who she's related to.
Yeah.
Even though they haven't said
Yeah,
it yet.
I think you mentioned, but you didn't.
I don't remember if it was on the recording.
Yeah, I don't think per se, because I edited all that. Be like, you may have said it, but I may have edited it out.
Fair enough. That's probably wise.
Yeah. But either way, Cass is a new introduction of a character. One, we don't get her name until like 30 minutes into the film. It's just be like, oh, Cassandra. And it's like, that's her name. That's who this woman's following.
Well, at least by the time they get out of the castle and she's taking her to the Healing Flowers location,
Yeah.
at least then they say her name. I
Yeah,
know
exactly.
that. I really don't remember if they said her name before that point.
No, they didn't.
Okay.
The cool thing when they the skill in which they write the series in this movie, it's not we're introduced to a character and we get an exposition dump immediately, who they are, what their background is, what their motivations are. Like there again, we don't get Cassandra's name.
Yeah, we don't even get an important plot point about the character that won't show up for 10 episodes?
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah. About who this character is.
Yeah, all we
get is that she's awesome.
Yeah, she's
Pretty
awesome.
much.
Pretty much. She's Rapunzel's lady in waiting, and she's related to the
Well, her father is the captain of the
yeah, her father's
Let's say it that way.
Yeah, let's say it that way. Yeah, learn that during the series.
Us hinting more and more.
Yes, exactly. Go watch this series. It's good.
It is very good.
Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
So yeah, my second like would be the introduction of Cass or Cassandra.
Well, in your number one, you mentioned the lore, and I'm going to talk some more about the lore in my number two.
Okay.
In my experience, most shows that are spin-offs of movies, no matter who makes them, the show usually acknowledges the movie, but then never talks about it.
Yeah.
It often does its own thing. This movie really expects you to have watched Tangled.
Yes.
And to have seen it a number of times, and expects you in the show going forward. Heck, this movie even thinks you probably went and watched Ever After. Because it even mentions, we got married.
Yeah.
But the story of how we got, of the journey to that point, is what's kind of crazy. And you're kind of led into this story thinking, oh, we're going to find out, we're going to hear this crazy story. It's probably going to be like, oh, there was a bunch of mishaps, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
No, we get Spikes attacking giant rocks, her hair mysteriously coming back despite the fact it shouldn't be.
Right.
The fact that we eat... sorry. I nearly tripped into the series.
Yeah.
The fact that we get so many characters, we get her. It is necessary for you to have seen the movie to understand why she feels the way she does now. Because feeling cooped up in a castle because you're the princess, that's one thing. Being cooped up in the castle because you're the princess after having spent 18 years locked in a tower and not being allowed to leave, that's another thing entirely.
Yeah, just a bit.
And knowledge of admittedly you'd know that from the fairy tale, but the knowledge that how her life was before that point and the adventures she went on really does help to solidify who the character is and solidify the story going forward. I love the continuity, I guess what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Which kind of connected back into the other one, but at the same time you still get the lore of the flower and how it goes forward into the show. I'm saying that because I know what the rocks are somewhat connected to.
Right.
I don't know fully because I'm barely into season 2.
We'll get there when we get there.
That's another show.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I love the continuity. I love how the lore continues.
Yes.
And the lore is slowly getting better and better. And I love how they, like you said earlier, they do not reveal everything at once.
Exactly.
It takes, part of the reason why season 1 is so slow is not because of the story, not because it's being dragged along because they felt like they couldn't leave the castle till the end of that point. It's because they are revealing slowly what this world actually is. And it really, as much as I was annoyed in the series, about halfway through, it's like, get out of the castle and do something, please. Not out of the castle, out of Corona, please.
Yes.
It really, as much as that was annoying, I really do appreciate how long it takes. But we're not here to talk about the series, even though we keep going into it.
Yeah, it's kind of hard not to talk about.
Yeah, but
the
I like,
series of the movie.
but the pace for season 1 is set here, and it does not. And as weird as this, as slow as this feels, it just gets better and better. So yeah. That's my number 2 like. I don't know if I can actually put that in a simple sentence now, but what's your third like?
My third like would actually be the ending of this movie that ties into the beginning of the series. Would be that after the revelation that Rapunzel's hair is returned and her defending her parents and the castle from the goons of taking siege of the castle for the briefest moment they did. It's
Almost like a certain Christmas movie.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Hush. but the fact that King Frederick he lays down the law of that Rapunzel can no longer leave the castle leave the castle without strict permission, and
Definitely can't go beyond the walls.
yeah, definitely can't go beyond the walls, and so she's kind of trapped again.
Yes.
but she makes the best of it. And
Her cell is a little bit bigger and a bit nicer and
Yeah.
filled with more friends, but it's still a cell.
it's still a cell in a way. It's a much larger tower. Let's say that. But yeah,
Excuse me.
hush. I know where he's going. If you haven't seen the series, go watch it. You'll figure it out what we're talking about later. So it's that Rapunzel now has, because earlier on in the movie we have the conversation between Rapunzel and her mother and giving her the sketchbook, I guess you would call it.
A
Journal, sketch
diary.
Yeah. Sketch diary.
A net book? Not quite that advanced.
No.
Essentially a notebook that she writes down the adventures in.
Yeah, and draws a lot.
Well, yes, it is Rapunzel. She is
Yeah.
an artist.
Yeah, can totally relate. So it's this and she now has she wants to go on these adventures, but now she feels confined. But she wanting to be an obedient daughter to her father, and her mother wanting her to explore. It kind of gives her a reason to adventure, even within her confinement of Corona. And season 1, there again, is all about the adventure within Corona. So yeah, it's a very nice tail end to that movie. That she still has hope, and we get the
theme song.
Wind in My Hair, which is a really good, it's a very incredibly well done song. Alan Menken does do the arrangement for the song, and it's just performed very well by many more. And it's a great ending to the show, even though it's kind of a downer. It kind of lifts you up a little bit because something else is going to come after that. So that's my number 3.
My third like actually is the theme song.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we actually get 2 versions of it. At the very end, the one you were just talking about is the version we hear at the beginning of every episode of season 1 and forward.
Yeah.
But before that, about roughly a quarter of the way into the movie, we get the full length version.
Yes.
Which you almost never get to hear the full length version of a show's theme song,
Right.
And they actually worked it into the movie, and it is one of, I'm not going to say it's Alan Menken's best because he's got a lot to compare it to, and I have not studied it enough to actually make that assertion. But it's one of his. It's a very good song.
Yeah, it's
So yeah, it's one of those weird songs where I can hum. I'll be just walking down the street or walking, at work or something. And all of a sudden, and I'm just humming it already.
It's catchy.
It comes out of nowhere. I don't even know how it started playing in my head again. Maybe because I've heard it a bunch of times, but yeah, I mean it's just a regular thing that hits me. It's a great little ditty.
Yeah, you said
That's an old word.
you said it.
It's a great little song, and I enjoy it. I mean, yeah, I like the theme song for the show that they play in this movie. So yeah. And now we get to something I think is going to be very hard for both of us.
Right.
What did we not like about this?
What we did not like about this movie? I would say for my number one, it would, like in the original film, they can't keep the consistency of how long Rapunzel's hair is. Because when you first see it, yeah, it looks 70 feet long, but then when you get more...
No. When we first see it, it's just right below her neck.
Hush.
It's brown.
That is true. When it transforms
after it returns to Rapunzel hair length.
Yeah, when
it becomes ambiguous.
When it becomes its full 70 feet length again.
Sometimes 120, sometimes 10.
Yeah, pretty much.
Whatever's needed for the scene.
Yeah, that's true. There's scenes where it's okay. It looks 10 feet long. It looks 5 feet long. It looks like 100 feet long because it just depends on how much.
And unlike the movie, they didn't bother to braid her hair ever. Oh no, I won't say that.
No, they didn't.
Times.
They do in the series. They do.
Yeah, but in this movie, they never braid her hair. They just stuff it up in a wig.
Yeah, how much weight would that be on your neck?
Yeah,
that's a ton of weight.
I think I brought that up on our review of Tangled.
You did,
because she's got to have strong neck muscles.
Oh yeah. But either way, it's the old problem. You really can't consistently draw something at the exact length due to angle, due to what you need to do with the hair. Mm-hmm. It's one of those nitpicks that says you wish you can get some high quality consistency with that, but what are you gonna do? Cut her hair off? It's not gonna happen this time.
Well, we tried that; it didn't work.
Yeah, exactly. Good try though, Cass.
Yes.
What's your number one?
Good night. My number one. My first dislike of this movie is very much a nitpick.
Mm-hmm.
How is it that they can travel across the entire kingdom of Corona in a day?
It's a small kingdom.
I know it's a small
but it's
kingdom,
not small either.
But it's not small. This is not this. If you just watched this movie and hadn't seen the rest of it, I can guarantee you the first time I watched this, I didn't catch this.
Mm-hmm.
Because I hadn't seen how big the kingdom actually was. I just assumed, I didn't even realize that the wall was the edge of the kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought, oh, the wall's like the security perimeter. No, the wall is the edge of the entire kingdom, and they can get to it in a day. And as far as I can tell, especially looking forward into the series, Rapunzel's tower from the movie is within that diameter.
Yeah.
Which means Mother Gothel was within that diameter, but for some reason the flower wasn't?
Well, technically the flower was within the walls of Corona.
Barely. It's not that obvious, I think, when you watch that they did not leave the wall, go past the security wall.
Yeah.
In my mind, they did, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
because that was part of the thing. The rocks came from outside later on.
Yeah.
So in my mind, where the flower was on the other side of the wall, which would make sense that's why it took so long for the guards to find it in the first place.
Well, yeah. But just to show consistency within the film itself, because of Tangled the movie,
a wall.
there wasn't a wall yet. But within
But it would have been outside the kingdom. Well, really, we don't know where the border of the kingdom is.
we really don't, but it's I think in the series we learn more about how big Corona,
Right.
the kingdom of Corona is.
But so let me rephrase how I put it. How is it they can get to the wall so fast when there are mountains, tons of mountains in the way?
Yes.
How long does it later on when during the winter episode where she's queen for a day?
Yeah.
How long does it did they say it was from her to Wizard Boy?
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying not to say his
Okay,
name, and I also
yeah.
can't remember his name.
V.
Yeah, V. It was there was no way they were going to make it to him in time in the first place, if I remember correctly.
Right.
Even if they weren't under so much stress at
Right.
the time, and yet they get there and back before lunch
Yeah.
because they're back in time to for her to get cleaned up and to go welcome all the people to her coronation.
Well, almost to the
Now,
fit.
I
Almost
know
to,
they're on horses. And
Yeah.
that makes travel a lot faster than it would be on foot.
That is true. But also, let me point out something. When Rapunzel says, "Be like, I'll beat you to the castle," and she just bolts, just breakneck speed. So I'm presuming it was like,
Even though they're running at speed. Remember what we said about the tower being within the security wall, it seemed
Yeah.
like? How long in the first movie, in Tangled, did it take
A day.
for a whole day?
a whole day.
And they get they get to the wall and back in probably, I'm estimating, 4 hours.
Possible.
It's just a touch of inconsistency.
Yeah, that is
in
true.
the size of our playground, let's say.
Well, we don't know what edge of the wall or the edge of the kingdom that wall is.
True. It could just be that where they went was a rather close part of it, because
Exactly.
I don't think we ever actually get to see the wall in full.
No.
For maybe a shot. So in my mind, it's circular. It may just be, where they could build it.
Yeah. It could be a quite literal Hadrian's Wall.
Could be.
It could be just all over the place.
But yeah, it's just the inconsistency of that just kind of irks me a little bit, and I wish it was a little more cleaned up. Admittedly, it's close. The wall that they go to at the beginning is not even the part of the wall when they go to the flower.
Right.
I'll admit that, but they're also able to get to the flower and back in a night time, in one night.
Yes.
And also, how does she have the energy to go through the rest of her coronation day after having no sleep?
It's Rapunzel.
I'm just saying. She slept in the next day
Yeah.
before going and finding V.
Yeah.
Because that's the next episode.
That is true.
So, yeah. That's my first dislike. What's your second, if you have one? Because I have a feeling this is going to be a set of dislikes that we're not going to have all of them.
True. Get back to me on that one.
Oh, great. Well, yeah, my second dislike, then, as I've said a couple times before, having seen where the series goes, I don't like the fact that we don't get some foreshadowing is the wrong term, but we don't get to see at least characters that are coming in the series in this. Now, granted, those characters probably were not designed when this movie was being made. They were designed after the fact when it's like, oh, we're going to write this episode and we need this character. Okay, design this character. Do we need to put him in the movie? No, we're halfway done with that anyway. Let's not worry about that. So we don't get some of our more fun characters from later on. Don't get me wrong. I'm not expecting V. He's busy.
Yeah.
But some of the characters we know are in Corona at this time, such as the baker, who doesn't get along with Rapunzel, or what is her name? The other, not the other lady in waiting, but
you had to put me on the spot on that one.
I can't remember her name.
Hold on.
Her, anyway.
Her.
We don't get to see her, which she's a fun character to watch come up. And she is at least important in one episode near the end of the season.
Yes.
So we don't get her. We don't get in her. We don't. Our Snuggly Duckling friends. They're only in it for a short second.
Yeah.
Just enough to be in it.
Right.
In essence, they could have cut their scene out and it would not have changed a thing.
Right.
And so it would have been nice to have more scenes with them. Admittedly, I don't know if they'd be at the coronation, but I have a feeling, maybe they could have had, the way the show goes,
right?
They could have been serving guests at the banquets.
Maybe.
I could see this happening.
Yes. Okay, so here's mine.
I just wish we got more of the characters that we later see in the series here, as for no other reason. When you go back and watch it, you go, oh, look, it's that character who we'll meet in a couple episodes. They're in the background. That was a nice inclusion. That's kind of that's what I wish.
My let's just call it's a nitpick. I'm in the same vein as Drew on this. The one that they could have thrown in here for more comedy relief is Shorty.
Yeah.
Why didn't they throw Shorty in here? Because Shorty he's funny in the movie, and he's
of the Snuggly Duckling crew. He's the one that appears the most in the show.
That is true.
Because he's a running gag.
True. Very true. So yeah, just be like the absence of characters, definitely Shorty. So yeah. And I understand they're trying to focus on the relationship and dynamic of
and it's not like in
Eugene and everybody else.
It's not like in every episode those characters show up, except for Shorty, because Shorty just keeps showing up. They even found a way to get him into the. They even find a way to keep Shorty in season 2.
Yes. When
none of the rest of the crew can come.
That is true.
So
it's a very clever way.
It's a very clever way. It's very funny how they pulled that off.
It's Shorty. What do you expect?
But it's annoying that he's not used here. And admittedly, I don't know how they would have used him more here outside of what little we do get.
Small cameo. He makes some goofy joke.
Yeah, and admittedly, I didn't even read Shorty's name in the cast list because he doesn't talk in this. The one time in the entire show he doesn't talk is in the movie at the pilot.
Right.
So yeah, it's just weird.
Right.
Do you have a third dislike?
I think the only third dislike would be. Now, I understand King Frederick's position.
Yes.
I completely understand his position. He wants to keep his one and only child safe.
Who is at a disadvantage because she has to learn to be queen, and she has a lot less time than she would have had had she not been kidnapped.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, just like, why confine her to the kingdom? I understand why he does it, but it's more. He does seem something even more brash in
later on
in the season 1, and which we'll get to
when we get there.
So yeah, when that scene happened, and looking back when I first watched it, I was like, Ooh, that reminds you just very slightly of something else that happened in the first film.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of being locked in a tower.
Well,
Minus this being a kingdom.
Here's the thing. I think we both recognize that was intentional.
Oh yeah, it's
on
very
on the part of the writers, because Rapunzel feeling locked up is like 9/10 of
Oh yeah, absolutely.
of what it was before. So it makes sense. You want to create more of friction for her. It makes sense that now she got out of one cage and is now stuck in another cage.
Pretty much.
And most of season 1 is her, along with making that cage nicer for herself, actually working her way out of the cage.
True. Very, very true.
Right.
So there again, that was more like off the cuff, more like extreme nitpick. But there again, it's a good story plot beat, that it makes sense within the story. It's a good storytelling element. Like Drew said, it gives more tension to the character and it gives more motivation to the character. It's just meh. I don't know. That was the first thing that popped in my mind.
Yeah.
But either way, that is my dislikes.
My third and last dislike is one that's very simple.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how, despite the fact that this movie leads to 3 seasons of a television show, that we never hear anything about this unless you are already aware of it. Here's the thing. Tangled has unfortunately always been in Frozen's shadow.
Yeah.
Now, opinions on Frozen being what they are, that's not a bad thing necessarily. If Frozen hadn't done as well as it did, I think Tangled would have had that spotlight. But let's face it, if Frozen had a TV show, everyone would know about it.
Yeah, it's true.
Just because of how Frozen is. Tangled, on the other hand, I didn't even know there was a show until you showed me that clip that on our first year of something that occurs in season 2.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
And I remember looking at that and going, what on earth are they doing? This almost makes me want to watch a show. Of course, I didn't because I was busy. You know how stuff is. Like, I should watch this when I have time.
Yeah.
What is time? That was before we were doing a podcast where we were releasing an episode nearly every day of the week. So yeah, I'm glad I am getting a chance to watch it now. I would love to have known this was happening. Admittedly, Disney Channel has always been one I've kind of not followed as much.
Right.
Because some of their stuff is, let's be honest, stupid. But I wish I'd have known about this beforehand because I might have jumped on the bandwagon a little sooner.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing with most people; they didn't know about it.
Yeah,
because Disney
nobody talks about it.
Yeah,
Disney didn't talk about it.
Yeah, they didn't promote it as well as they should have.
If you weren't watching Disney Channel and happened to have been on when the show was coming on, you wouldn't know about this.
Pretty much.
I didn't know it existed, and wasn't going to pay for it on Amazon. So thankfully, Disney Plus hasn't. So yeah, I'm happy. I wish this had more coverage.
Agreed.
Because there's a small part of me that thinks we might be the only podcast that's talking about this outside of a specific, some Tangled specific podcast fandom group.
Yeah, which I'm pretty sure there are.
Oh, I'm sure there are. Like so many movies that we have reviewed, it sometimes feels like we're the only ones talking about them. You know what I mean? And I would have thought as interesting as some of the screenshots that I've seen that were spoilers that I wish I hadn't have seen, but because I have to do research, I see things.
I'm blue, baba dee baba da.
Shush. I have no idea why most people don't know about this show. So yeah, the fact that it's criminally unknown by most people is
Agreed.
my third dislike.
Yeah.
Which brings us to our rating of this.
Yes.
I'm giving it an 8.
Okay.
Like I said, it's got a bit of a rocky start. There's some things I wish. I didn't know it doesn't sound like it because we almost didn't talk about a lot of that in our dislikes.
True.
But I mean, some of the characterizations are not full yet,
Well, yeah.
especially with with Cassandra.
Yeah.
Because we don't really know her yet. Part of her acting is intentional for that because how little about her we know.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just some of that. It's like some of this does not jive with what we know later.
Yeah.
And so I wish there was. Those are the things I wish were better. But for the most part, this is a likable movie and fun. And yeah, I can give it an 8, easy.
Okay. I will give it a 8.5. I enjoyed this movie. There again, like Drew said, it doesn't really give you. It's not a traditional movie that they have to dump exposition after exposition onto you to help you understand what's going on because it's a series build up. So we're kind of left with okay, but here's the thing: if this movie had done so poorly in its release that no one watched it or Disney Channel never promoted it whatsoever, how much of the series we would have gotten?
Who knows? It could be that 3 seasons was all they had written for.
Or we could have just got season 1.
True.
So there again, be like it's almost a gamble to do a movie when you know you're doing a series afterwards. But you're almost running a gamble to see if the movie does well enough, and the movie did well. So they were able to do 3 seasons minus just delays and delays and delays. Thanks, Disney.
Sometimes that happens.
It does. It does. It does. Most definitely does.
I mean, this series came out in what, 26? What year did you say this came out? 2016?
Yeah, 2016.
3 seasons in 4 years is not bad.
No, it's not.
It's not as good as we like.
Right.
Bear in mind, it took 4 years for Gravity Falls to get 2 seasons done.
Yeah. There again, be like there are production problems and what have you with the series. But all the same, I enjoyed this movie. It's worth a watch. And it does springboard you into the series. And so if you're wanting to get into a good series, this is a good series to get into because it goes deep, it goes hard, it goes fast. Mm-hmm. With its lore and character and story.
It may not seem like it's going anywhere quickly because of how many reused environments the show has.
Right.
But trust me, it is leading places. So I would suggest, after you get done listening to this, you should go check out our prologue episode of TAS coming out the Monday after this releases for Tangled the Series.
Yes, absolutely.
So join us then.
Absolutely.
Next week, after we've done 3 episodes of Tangled, or really 2 in a prologue episode, we are going to be coming back and talking about, along with talking about anniversary stuff, because it will be that episode. We're also going to be talking about the upcoming movies of 2021 that we're kind of looking forward to seeing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that will be a fun episode, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
And we might even hint at some of the movies we plan to review that are not coming to theaters.
Yeah, exactly. So stay tuned.
Indeed. Come, Jacob. We must prepare for next week.
Prepare for what, Drew?
The same thing we do every week, Jacob. Record a podcast.
Oh, boy.
So where can they find you, Jacob?
You can find me on Facebook at Jacob B. Heron, also on Facebook at Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where I try to draw each and every day. I don't get to it as often as I like, but join me there. Also, you can find me on Instagram at Jacob B. Heron, on Twitter at Jacob Heron, and Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. So where can they find you, Drew?
You can also follow me on Letterboxd at GGeorge759, Facebook as Drew Dodgen, my Facebook page where you can see pictures I've taken at Drew's Photo Bin. You can also follow me on Twitter at GGeorge759.
You can email us at thecellcastpodcast cast_cell@gmail.com.
You can also follow us on Twitter at cast_cell.
You can follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/thecellcastgaming.
You can also follow us on YouTube at Cellcast,
Listen to our podcast on Apple Podcasts,
Google Play Podcasts,
Stitcher,
Spotify.
and your favorite podcast directory.
You can also listen to us on the Movie of the Week podcast with Jim Herron, where we talk about live action movies. And remember, Cell is a single L.